sometime.
Will trouble come my way?
Trouble come my way.
You gotta pray sometime.
Gotta pray sometime.
But you know that my Jesus,
He will fix it.
you know Jesus.
My Jesus, He will fix it.
You know that my Jesus,
My Jesus, He will fix it.
after a while,
After a
will
while.
trouble come my way?
Trouble come my way.
You gotta love sometimes. Sorry,
Gotta
to stop there.
love
Will
sometime.
trouble come my way?
Trouble come my way.
You gotta love sometimes.
Gotta love sometime.
But you know that my Jesus,
My Jesus, He will fix it.
you know Jesus.
My Jesus, He will fix it.
You know that my Jesus,
My Jesus, He will fix it.
after a while. We'll do fight this time,
After a
Chaz.
while.
Trouble come my way.
Trouble come my way.
You gotta fight sometime.
Gotta fight sometime.
Trouble come my way.
Trouble come my way.
You gotta fight sometime.
Gotta fight sometime.
But you know that my Jesus,
My Jesus, He will fix it.
you know Jesus.
My Jesus, He will fix it.
You know that my Jesus,
My Jesus, He will fix it.
after a while,
After a while.
trouble come my way.
Trouble come my way.
You gotta sing sometime.
Gotta sing sometime.
Oh, trouble come my way.
Trouble come my way.
You gotta sing sometime.
Gotta sing sometime.
But you know that my Jesus,
My Jesus, He will fix it.
you know Jesus.
My Jesus, He will fix it.
You know that your Jesus,
My Jesus, He will fix it.
after a while,
After a while.
trouble come my way.
Trouble come my way.
You gotta give some time.
Gotta give some
Oh,
time.
trouble come my way.
Trouble come my way.
You gotta give some time.
Gotta give some time.
But you know that my Jesus,
My Jesus, He will fix it.
you know Jesus.
My Jesus, He will fix it.
You know that my Jesus,
My Jesus, He will fix it.
after a while.
After a while.
Y'all want to just keep going up? We feel good? I feel good? Voice is a little cold today. Oh, come on, now, y'all. I still can't get over how dapper Bryce is looking back there, man. I'm just like, the whole song, I just keep looking back there. I'm like, man.
Never again.
I'm sorry, brother. All right, we're going to sing I Tried and I Tried. I tried and I tried, I tried and I tried, I tried and I tried,
Until I found the Lord.
My soul.
just gonna be contented, just gonna be contented, just gonna be content. Hey, until I found the Lord, I searched and I searched, I searched and I searched, I searched and I searched, until I found the Lord.
My soul.
Just gonna be contented, just gonna be contented, just gonna be content.
Hey.
Until I found the Lord. I prayed and I prayed, I prayed and I prayed, I prayed and I prayed, until I found the Lord.
My soul.
Just gonna be contented, just gonna be contented, just gonna be content. Until I found the Lord. I cried and I cried, I cried and I cried, I cried and I cried, until I found the Lord.
My soul.
Just gonna be contented, just gonna be contented, just gonna be content. Hey, until I found the Lord. Well, I found, yes, I found, yes, I found, yes, I finally found the Lord.
My soul.
Just gonna be contented, just gonna be contented, just gonna be content. Hey, until I found the Lord. All right. Heaven's on the other side. Heaven is on the other side. Heaven is on the other side.
Heaven's on
is
the other
the other side.
side.
Heaven is on the other side. I will make it, I will make it. Heaven is on the other side. Jesus is my Lord and King. I said, Jesus is my Lord and King. Jesus is my Lord and King. Jesus is my Lord and King. I will make it, I will make it. Jesus is. We're turned down a little bit here. He died on the cross for me. 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 Here we go, let's pick it up. I will make it, I will make it. He died on the cross for me. He will come to claim his own. 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 I will make it, I will make it. He will come to claim his own, because heaven is on the other side. 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 I will make it, I will make it. Heaven is on the other side. All right, we got time for one request. Anyone got something? I don't have a guitar. I'm sorry.
Maybe
Love, love, love. Okay, let me think about how that one goes. Oh, yeah. Love, love, love. All you need is love. All right. Different song. All right. Love, 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 love. The gospel in a word is love. Love your neighbor as your brother. Love, love, love. Peace, 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 peace. The gospel in a word is peace. Peace that passes understanding. Peace, peace, peace. All right, we do rounds. Here we go.
Joy, 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 joy. The gospel in a word is joy.
The gospel in a word is joy. Joy that fills to overflowing. Joy, 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 hope.
The gospel in a word is hope.
The gospel in a word is hope.
Hope that leads to a home in heaven. Hope, hope,
Christ,
hope.
Christ. The
Christ,
gospel
Christ,
in a word is
Christ. The gospel in a word is Christ. Love him, serve him, and adore him. Christ, Christ, Christ.
The
Love,
gospel in a
love,
word is
love,
love.
The gospel in a word is love. Love your neighbor as your brother. Love, love, love. All right, that was nice. All right, you guys may be seated. Good choice of song there.
Hello. It's nice to see everybody today. Okay, we have some prayer requests. We are continuing to pray for Matt, for the folks' son. He is still facing a difficult recovery. He's had the surgery to fuse his spine. He's in sort of a waiting pattern at this point. They want to take the vent out, but he's struggling with some fever and maybe infection. So be praying for him and for the doctors. Lindsay's surgery went really well yesterday, so she's recovering at home. So be praying for her and her healing. And there is going to be a memorial service for Colleen Lavery on Saturday, January 11th at 1 p.m. at Meridian Woods. There's a meal to follow if you want to go to that. So this one, we want you to be mindful of our visitors. Our parking lot is pretty full on Sundays. So if you are in the younger crowd and you are not toting a baby and 2 toddlers, we would like you to park across the street at Kaiser. And so if it's not hard for you to cross the street, park over there and let's leave some room for our guests. All right, blood drive. Our next blood drive is going to be this Sunday. And this is a time of year when they definitely need extra blood. So if you're able to give, she said, even if you are, like if you were sick last week, as long as you're not still on antibiotics, they want you to go ahead and go give blood because they're in need. So that'll be 8:30 to 12:30 this Sunday. All right, the marriage seminar is super coming up. It is the 24th, the 25th is the actual seminar, and Rick will be preaching on relationships on Sunday. This truly is meant to be for everybody. We all need to learn how to love from the strength of Jesus, whether you have roommates or friends or trying to get along with your coworkers, it is hard to love difficult people, and we're trying to figure out how to do that better. So, if you are able to come, we'd like you to come. You need to register and let us know, especially if you need childcare. And if you're able to help provide the childcare, there will be shifts back there. So talk to me or talk to Hannah if you're able to do childcare. And again, we're trying to promote this in the community. Every day that you get on Facebook or Instagram, go to our public page, Crossway Tallahassee. Like, go look at our page. There's going to be a post, a quote about marriage that you can share or something from the event. So let's get the word out for everybody. Okay. All right. Church retreat is February 28th through March 2nd, and there will be information sheets in the entryway as soon as we're done here because I'm going to put them back there. So that just a little bit more about the location in case you haven't been, and the setup and the cost. You can find all of that by going just to our website under events. There's a picture, this exact photo. If you click on that, you will get to a page that has information sheets and the registration link and more information. And if you have any other questions, just reach out to me and I should be able to help you with that because we're going to start hyping up and getting everybody registered. So, birthdays and anniversaries. Who had a birthday this week? Are we hiding or did nobody have a birthday? Okay, anniversaries this week. Okay, I'm turning it over to Chris.
All right. Don and Karen are actually here tonight, and one of the things we would like to do is pray for them together with their son. So if you don't know Don and Karen, they don't want to come up front at this point in time. So they're sitting next to Sherry over there. So Don and Karen, if you don't, I think everyone knows, but they're her son and his wife and then the child were all in the car, and they were all injured significantly. Michelle's wife is doing better. She's had several surgery, but Matt is still, as was mentioned, is still in some serious condition. And they're incredibly grateful for the prayers of the church and believe that it's making a great difference. But this is one we got to keep praying because this is really cool. This is part of our family. And so I really want to urge you, we're going to pray together now, but we're going to pray. We just need to keep praying more and more for this. It's an urgent situation. Every day is critical. And this is part of our family, so we need to do that. In addition, Karen's brother Mike is having some problems and is in the hospital also. So this is really a challenging time for Karen. So if you could please keep her constantly in the prayer, that would be great. So I encourage every person to spend some time every day in this area. And I think I'm forgetting an announcement. Did someone tell me to say something different? Or it might? Okay. All right. So let's stop and pray together. Father, thank you for always listening to us. Thank you, Father, that you care what's going on in our hearts. And right now, Father, we ask that you will wrap your arms around Karen, wrap your arms around Don as they go through this incredible challenge together. I know it's scary when everything's normal and all of a sudden it's not. And I pray, God, that you will give them peace and comfort. Thank you for the progress that has been made. But God, we pray that you will continue to work in Michelle with the pain and different things she's having after multiple surgeries. Father, we thank you that Mason is okay. We pray for Mike and his hospitalization. We especially right now are praying about Matt's situation, Father. Pray that you will help him to heal and recover. Father, it's one of those scary things when we don't know all the things that are going on, but God, we ask you to heal him, to work in him, to work miraculously as only you can. Guide the surgeons, the doctors, all the people taking care of him, the nursing staff. And may somehow the love of Christ flow through their hands and their decisions and their hearts in his life. Father, we thank you so much for a group of people that love and care about one another. Father, again, we are so thankful for Karen. We're so thankful for Don being part of this congregation. And God, we pray that they will feel the warmth, the love of every person in here. Help them to be comforted by your arms and the arms of the church. We thank you so much, Father, for you always caring, always listening, and always working. We again ask you to work powerfully in Matt's life. In Jesus' name, we all pray together as one body. Amen. All right, so if children want to go to their classes, we'll take a couple-minute break, and then we're going to have class together. You hearing it? Can y'all hear me? Not quite yet. Hello? I think it's working some. All right.
All right, everybody, we're going to get started. Please make your way to your seats. Thank you.
Thank you. Somehow it's still not picking up good. It's on. My green light's on. I can hear it in the monitor a little bit. But you got it? Can you guys hear me? Peggy, can you hear me? Not really? They're not hearing in the back or in the middle. Hello? I do have my green light on. Better? Not yet? All right. No good? I'm going to go to this mic instead. All right, just keep talking. I'll move this away from me. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all, those smiling faces here. This will be an interesting class, and hopefully it will impact your life. Probably in a little bit different way than most of the classes we try to teach here. This is it's becoming an annual health talk. So I hope that you enjoy this. The concept of this comes from 1 Corinthians 6, verse 19, which says, "Do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own, you are bought at a price. Therefore honor God with your body." Specifically, he's talking about sexuality in this, but the concept of taking care of what God has given you. God has given you a body. Now, you might look at your body and think, I missed out on certain things, right? But God made us the way he made us. And there's things that we've done in our life to affect our health. There's injuries, there's accidents, there's bad choices, there's all these different kind of things. But I want one thing, no matter what, everyone in here has some parts of their body that are working better than a lot of people in the world. So it's really important then when we think about these different things that we're grateful to God. And, there's some people that are going to always be faster, stronger, smarter. That's okay. That's not the point is God gave us a body so we could live on this earth and draw close to him and develop a relationship. These bodies are temporary. We're going to get a more amazing one in heaven. I don't know how to talk about the health of a body in heaven, except I know it's going to be great, where there's no sickness, there's no sadness. This body does get those things. And so we need to talk about it and managing it. I'm going to give you opinions about some of these things are my opinions. Some of them are facts. And I'm not trying to change anyone's medical regimen tonight. I'm going to give you information that I think will help your life. And I hope you find it beneficial. Again, I want to say that some of you have genetic things that predispose you. In my family, there's obviously some dementia issues for us to have to think about it, and that's some of the stuff I'm going to talk about. Hopefully helps to prepare for that a little bit. And there's some people, again, who've had injuries, surgeries, and things that have happened to us along the way. But I encourage you to do your very best to take care of it. Allison was telling me about a person that she saw on some social media thing, and he was talking about his life. And he was talking about the fact that he regretted, he said, I would live my life so much differently if I could do it again. And he was a physician, I believe, from what Allison had told me. And so I want you to think about that as God has given you what you have. And so prayerfully you can manage that in the best way to maximize the physical life that you have here on this earth. And that's the intent of this talk. So if you go back and you look at medicine, one of the most amazing things that changed the lifespan of all people, of mankind, was what in the last 100 years or so? Antibiotics. Antibiotics changed life, all right? Many of us would be dead before antibiotics came out, right, as we sit here. That was a life-changing thing. One of the challenges in the medicine we've got ability to take care of things better. Like I have an artificial knee in my body. Well, 100 years ago, there was no artificial knees. You just wouldn't walk well. There's so many different things. that happen. There's different body part injuries and different surgeries that are amazing. It's incredible. But we've kind of come to a roadblock in a few areas, all right? And these areas are things that are really vital to everyone sitting in this room. One is heart disease. We haven't been able to master that very much at all. There's things that we do can help. Cancer. We haven't been able to master that. There's things that we can do and help in situations. We have diabetes and a metabolic dysfunction, which we're going to lump all together in there. This is of the different things that happens, chemistry inside of our bodies that we've actually done worse on in some ways over the last years on these areas. And then the neurodegenerative changes, specifically Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, things like that. So this talk is trying to address those four groups that everyone in here is going to have to deal with, okay? And again, it's important to understand that there's not perfect answers to all this. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be able to have to talk to you about this. But I think there's some things that are really, really valuable that you can change your life, your health, and I'm not going to be able to cure, and nor are you, with all these things. Our bodies are going to wear down. But they don't have to wear down the way that we so often let them in our culture. So even if you're really young, these things apply to you as well. I just want to mention a couple different things. The term diabetes is used classically was type 1 diabetes. That's when you get that typically when you're younger, and you need insulin. Diabetes type 2 is as we get older. We have what's called insulin sensitivity problems. The insulin your body doesn't recognize it well. You need a whole lot more insulin. And there's a whole bunch of things that come with this, increasing just about every bad thing in our body. That's one of those things that influences all those things. And then there's third thing you're going to be hear about is some of you have already heard this, type 3 diabetes. Anyone know what that's being called now? That's Alzheimer's. There's a lot of belief that Alzheimer's is strongly related to the metabolic issues in the body, inflammation, and damaging the blood-brain barrier and the blood vessels in the brain. That's where a lot of people. Now, some people, probably in my family, we're predisposed, some to get that more, and some people are not. There's certain genetic things that we know now that people are more likely to get that. That doesn't mean that you will get it, but if you don't do certain things, you will. All right, so we're going to talk about some of those things. One of the key things we're going to talk a lot about, people talk about the inflammatory diets. There's a lot of different opinions on that. I'm going to give you mine on that, but it is extremely influenced by your diet. There's some things that you can go back to see if you go back and look at America, for example, and you say, where did all this Alzheimer's come from, all this heart disease come from? It all came about the same time, and they all follow the same slope. And I'll give you my opinion in a few minutes on what that is, and then you can do what you want with this information. So we'll talk about that inflammatory thing, but first I want to talk about some simpler things. The first one I want to talk about is sleep. Now, I don't think we realize sometimes how significant sleep is, but I'm going to give you some information by this. So when you have inadequate sleep, all right, on a regular basis. Now, this is not a one-night thing. I don't think I got that much sleep last night, but typically it's the ideal range for sleep is 7 to 8 hours, okay? It's bad for your health if it's less, bad for your health if it's more, all right, on a regular basis. It's extremely bad for your health in both ends, just so you know that, all right? So decreasing sleep increases obesity, increases insulin resistance, which is diabetes type 2, it increases memory loss, decreases immune function, increases cancer, decreases libido, increases depression, and you're more vulnerable to addiction if you don't get enough sleep. Pretty important thing. 6 hours or less of sleep increases diabetes by 44% chance. All right? 5 hours less increases diabetes by 66% chance, if that's your routine, which is bad for doctors because that's where our training was a lot. So those things aren't necessarily healthy, all right? On the other side, greater than 8 hours increases your death of all cause mortality, all kinds, around 25 to 30%. If that's your pattern. So your sleep makes a difference. All right. I'm going to give you some more information on this. Let's see. So it affects if you're an athlete. Sleep issues is a major issue. We used to monitor that at FSU a lot. Sleep problems increase ADD, depression, heart attacks, and hypertension. So all these problems are associated with this. So a couple things I'm going to tell you. School-age children, how much at age 6 to 13, what do you think the healthy sleep for them is? 9 to 11 hours. Okay. What about ages 14 to 17? 8 to 10. Okay. And most of us in the class, we shouldn't be sleeping in this room. Shouldn't be 8 to 10 hours. All right, that's bad for us. So there are a couple of things more oversleeping associated with diabetes, heart disease, increased death, headaches, back pain, increasing severity of depression, and increased risk of death. So those things are all pretty important things. I'm going to give you some issues on what they call sleep hygiene, some things you can do. All right. First of all, sunlight, especially in the morning, is extremely helpful for you. About 30 minutes or so. I'm not telling you to go get burnt or anything else, but getting outside is really, really good for you. Developing a night routine every evening, that really helps at all. The dark, cool, quiet environment is the best. I know some of you sleep with TVs. The reality is not really that good for your sleep. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I'm just giving you information, all right? Avoid nicotine, alcohol, and caffeine can definitely affect your sleep issues. If you get a minimum of 30 minutes of exercise a day, it improves your sleep. Avoid screen time, especially at the end of the day. Some of us settle down, and we sit down, and we start playing with our phone, and we go to sleep. Not a good thing for your sleep if you're having sleep issues. So those are all practical, simple things for the sleep cycle. Sleep medicine, a couple things I want to talk to you about. Melatonin is an interesting sleep thing. Your pineal gland makes it. It's affected by sunlight. That's why the sunlight is helpful for you to be outside, not just be in the cave all day. And it is 5 milligrams or less is the normal dose. Interesting thing is it also helps decrease inflammation in the brain. Some people think it might help cut down the risk of Alzheimer's. So if you're going to have a sleep aid, trying something simple, melatonin is the reason why. Don't take these massive doses of it. You don't need that. If it's not working, it's not. But that's just information for you. Okay. There are other medicines, sleep things called hypnotics that are sometimes they don't hypnotize you, but they work through sedation and things. Those are not the best thing for long-term use. I know some people have to do them. Not the greatest thing. I'm not going to go into medicine much outside of what I'm about to say about those things. Sleep medicine I liked when I was taking care of the athletics was one called trazodone. But that's all the information I'm going to say about sleep, except you really want to do something about that. You really want to step back and look at your sleep pattern, because that's something you can do. There's no medicine necessary. You can do that, all right? And so if you're having difficulty with it, try some of the things we did. Look up sleep hygiene, and they will give you more ideas than I just try to give you some really practical things. So I'm going to stop. Is there a question on that? Does anyone have any questions about anything that I just said? Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. So Jay brings up a good point. Let's say during the week, I understand this, all right, in my life. Let's say in the week that you're going 5 hours a night every time, and then you make it up on the weekend. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Now, if you have a night that you don't sleep well and you get 4 hours of sleep, and then the rest of your nights are around 7 hours, you're good, all right? But there's some nights, life is just going to be like that. But try to change it as much as you can to monitor that, all right? I've lived a very crazy sleep life through my career. So I do understand it's not so smooth. I'm just giving you information. But the more you can manage that, the healthier you can be. It makes a difference, okay? Other question? Kim? question on magnesium at night, I take it if that makes a difference. I think magnesium is extremely helpful. I do think it's very, very good for a lot of things. It's a cardiac stabilizer for arrhythmias, and it's really good for cramps. It's better than, in my experience, except in 2-a-days in football, sodium and potassium. Magnesium, in my experience, is more helpful. The problem, if you take too much of it, you'll get diarrhea. So this is medicine is okay. We can say diarrhea, all right? But it does happen if you take too much of it, so it's not fun. So if you all of a sudden get that and you say, this is not a good thing, take less or to stop taking it, okay? But magnesium, I think, is great. Laura? I don't know that it's dangerous. I don't know that it's much. Oh, yeah, I think you can take it every night. Especially with the information that I read about, and I've heard this for years. I just did some research on it the last couple of days, but it does seem to. Some people believe it helps. It's an antioxidant. It helps a little bit with a lot of Alzheimer's concept is not. It is related to inflammation, so they think it may help that. Gail? I couldn't quite hear you, Gail. I'm so sorry. Sleep apnea. So sleep apnea, if you have sleep apnea, get one of those machines. CPAP. Melatonin? Yes. I would recommend that. Jen? I don't know. It seems more natural to sleep in a bed, but as long as you're getting good sleep, I don't care. I mean I don't care about you, but if you're getting good sleep, I think great. That's a good thing. So I think it's fine. So, thank thank you for telling me that. So one of the side effects if you're taking too much melatonin is nightmares. It's right next to the sleep center, so it can get overstimulated. I forgot about that, but thanks for bringing that up. All right, one more. Okay, napping. So napping is an interesting thing. I think there's a time for it. I was one that I would come home somewhere and take a 15-minute nap, and I was fine. If Allison takes a 15-minute nap, none of us are good. So it depends on the impact that it's having on you. I would, if you're having sleep problems, I would really, really try hard not to take a nap. Okay, my advice on that. Shirley, I do. Yeah, I think magnesium is best at night. I'll tell you, interesting thing. Again, I'm not. I'm just giving you information. Magnesium threonate has been shown to sometimes help brain growth and repair. So again, that's information. I don't know that all magnesium does. I know that one salt has been tested and it's been beneficial. All right. So anyway, let's move on. The number one thing you can do to extend your life, that means everybody in this room, there is one thing that's more powerful than anything else. What is it? Exercise. It's exercise. There is nothing that compares. There is no medicine. There is no other thing. Exercise is the most critical thing. If you want to live longer, there is no argument about this at all. It is critical. All right? And we're going to talk more about some of the specific things. So activity is really important. So this is an interesting study. So how many of you have sedentary jobs or live a sedentary life? And some people, you get 4,000 steps, you think you're not sedentary. That still counts as sedentary. I'm sorry. That is not really that much activity. All right. I know that seems like it is, but it's not. So we got to get like 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 steps to be considered more active people. Those numbers aren't perfect, but you understand my point. All right. So when you sit down, like if you sit down and you sit for 8 hours a day, don't get up or anything, your risk of dying earlier from all causes is increased by 33%. You can cut that down by every hour getting up for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You can do a lot of different things. Nikolai, will you bring a chair up here? You can do a lot of different things for that. So you just have to do some type of activity. Now, going and sitting in another chair doesn't count. All right, so let's say you are sitting, you're sitting, you get up, so you can still be right by your chair. You can just do a couple little squats. By the way, this is one of the best things that a lot of you can do. If you get older, you notice a lot of us can tend to use our hands to get down. Don't. If you can help it, just don't use your hands. Make your legs work. All right? Do some of those. March up and down a little bit. Use your legs. All right? Legs are your big muscles. They'll get some circulation going. But sitting down for hours at a time is bad for you. All right? That's not a good thing. God didn't make us to sit all the time. All right? So sitting is okay. I know you watch a movie, it's longer. Don't stress. But the whole concept is, in your life, get up, move more, and do something deliberately. You know, I'm going to show you some stretches in a minute that I think are really, really important. Another thing that's really, really good to do is to have a chair, stand up behind your chair, and balance. As you get older, you lose balance. For example, if you have an ankle injury, like an ankle sprain, and you're 15 years old, the number one thing you can do, your chance of coming back to see someone in my profession again in the next year is extremely high, unless you rehab it. Okay? Increases knee risk, hip risk, all kinds of different things, just from an ankle sprain. So one of the things, in my opinion, as I was going through all this sports stuff, is one of the biggest problems is balance, called proprioception, your nerve muscle control. So get next to a chair, and if you're really bad with balance, start with 2. Just try to stand there for a while. But hopefully you get a little better at that, and you stand on one leg. Have the chair right here. I don't want you to fall over, but have the chair right there so you can grab it. But that's a really good thing for you to start doing, is balancing. You know, if you're my age or older, you should practice some balancing really regularly, okay? Just do that, because your chance of falling is way, way high. And falling in my age group is seriously associated with death, all right? So you really take time to do this. If you've had any surgery on your legs, you should practice balancing, all right? I've had lots, so I need to practice balancing, okay? And so it's really, really, really important. So there's some simple things you can do right by your chair that are fine. I'd rather you stand up, but if you can't even do that, just do some bicycling in your chair. So you don't let yourself become sedentary for hours on end, because it's going to increase your chance of all-cause mortality significantly, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. We're going to spend a little more time on exercise before I do the question thing, okay? Stretching. I'm going to give you the stretches that I tell people that I think are the most important. Number one most common problem in my life is problem with the hips and pelvis and back, all right? And so my opinion, the number one stretch for people to do is hook your foot behind you. Now, some people can't do this one this way, but just stick with me. And then balance on something. And you stick your pelvis forward and you stretch this leg. If I could tell people one stretch in America to do, that would be my one. Now, we have several therapists in the room. They may have another one. I'm sorry, but this is my favorite. All right? But you stand here, push your pelvis forward. You can do it kneeling, but if you have knees like mine, you don't want to kneel. So I do it standing. But again, don't. So you push your pelvis forward. You should feel tightness in the front of your hip. That to me is the number one thing that I see. It affects your knee. It affects your hip, your pelvis, your back. So when I tell people to stretch, my opinion also on this, I got reasons for these different things, but is 2 minutes at a time. When you first start doing this, 2 minutes is not what you're going to want to do. But I really do believe it works better if you hold it that long. That's my number one stretch. So you can do this at your chair, all right? Number two stretch. You can go behind there, point your toes. Sorry, backside view, but I don't know how else to do this right now. You point your toes in towards each other, and you drop your pelvis forward. Don't let your heels come up. Do it with your knees straight and your knees bent. That's another really good leg exercise, a good stretch, okay? So you stretch your calves. I'm trying to give you chair things to do. Put your legs out in front of you, and even if you can't keep them straight, just lean forward towards your toes. And you hopefully you can get all the way down there someday. But if you don't, it's okay. Just lean forward and stretch. All right. These are really simple things, chair stretches. All right, and they're actually really good for you. Those 3 things for your legs. There's other ones I like, but I'm just trying to give you stuff that you can do today if you want to. All right. And then that's just some simple stretches. All right. Okay, I'm going to move on. All right. So, resistance training, strength training. People, I've kind of downplayed strength training a lot. Some people have through the years, and it's just focused in on aerobics. There's a book that I have with me called Outlive. This is kind of a neat book. It's written by Peter Attia. He's a physician. It's an interesting book. And he has several things in there that are good. He says that you should prepare. He was a cyclist, believe it or not. So, and then he realized he was cycling so much that he was neglecting other parts of his body that were going to be important. He started thinking about, I got to put up, and as I get older, people tend to lose muscle mass. But you can prevent that, or at least diminish the rapid loss of it. But when you lose muscle, your chance of falling and dying goes astronomically up. So the weight concept is really, really good. Interestingly, doing resistance training at least 2 times a week actually reduces not only your risk of falls, but reduces your risk of Alzheimer's too. So there's a lot of things that happen. So I strongly encourage you guys to do controlled weight training. Now, you might need help getting this done, but start out with the squat-like things. You can add a little weight, but start working on trying to get some strength. It is so critical to your life. So he says you should train as you're training for a decathlon. A decathlon isn't just a sprint. It's a long distance. It's a pole vault. It's a broad jump. It's all these different things. So you train your whole body. You really need to prepare for the future because it's coming. And if you don't, you're going to have a hard time walking up the steps to get into an airplane. Or you're not going to put your bag up there. And if that happens, it happens. But if you can prepare yourself for those things, you don't have to do that. There's people in their 90s that are still working out really high speed. That's not the average, but part of it is because of our culture. So just want to say you can do some of these things. I tell people at least twice a week, work out the large muscles. Your biggest muscles are your quads in your buttock area. Those are good. Don't neglect the arm things, but those are really, really critical as you walk. You do those things. So these are really important things to work on. And there's a lot of people who can give you advice on those, but don't let your muscles go away. I'm also a really, really big believer in Pilates. So if you can want to do that kind of thing, I know that Allison, not my Allison, but Allison Salves, that comes in, and she teaches some classes. If you can go to, I think it's great for you to do that. It's really, really good. And one of the things about this class is if there's things you guys want to do together more, like walking and doing exercise, you should do that. It's a great time for fellowship and connection, and it'd be great if we had 5 different kinds of classes. You meet in the park and you go for a walk. There's so many different things. So be active. It's going to change your life. It's really, really important. Okay. I think God made us to be active people. Our bodies are made that way. And when you sit for too long, for example, you put a cast on my elbow for a week, the muscles will be weaker, and I'll have a hard time straightening my elbow forever at my age. It happens fast. If you put a cast on my leg, 36 hours, this muscle right here starts getting weak. In 36 hours. And then it's harder for my kneecap to track where it is, so my knee hurts more. We are made to be active. And so if you can move now, move. That's what I'm telling you. So I'm going to leave the strength down away just a little bit. But a lower muscle mass over the age of 50, you're at 40 to 50% greater risk of mortality. That's how big these numbers are. That's a lot. All right. Again, you don't have to be a power lifter anymore. I don't lift heavy weights anymore, but I do exercise strength-wise regularly. So I think it really, really is important. To re-emphasize, exercise is more important. Being unfit is a greater risk factor than all cardiac risk factors combined. So exercise is medicine, and we all can start doing it. I know it gets irritating. I'm getting sore when I do that. I know, but eventually you won't, and eventually you'll get stronger, and eventually, and it will help your life. So, exercise. Sorry, listen to all the benefits. Improves mental health, depression, anxiety, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, metabolic health, the diabetes control, cardiovascular disease, cancer, hypertension, weight, and your bacteria in your intestine all change when you exercise. Here's an amazing one. All right, I love this one. So, even your skin. A 65-year-old group, they did a study, and they did a biopsy of the skin in the Buddhist region. Why? Because it didn't get sun, because sun damages skin. So the biopsy of the skin. They had these people, 65-year-old, for 3 months, and their skin was 65-year-old skin. They had them exercise 2 times a week, moderate aerobic exercise for 30 minutes. They re-biopsied, I guess, the other cheek. I don't know exactly. That's why you turn the other cheek, right? Their skin age changed from 20 to 40 years old, meaning their skin was more like a 30-year-old in 3 months of exercise. This tells you a lot's going on chemically when you exercise, all through your whole body. So I want to talk about aerobics. And when you go to Alzheimer's concept, one of the areas where your memory is, and it's called the hippocampus. And when you start getting Alzheimer's, it gets about 2% smaller per year on MRI. So they took these people and they put them in 2 groups, one in yoga and one in walking, brisk walking, okay? 30 minutes of both. And they did it for a year, and they had them rechecked. They did mental studies, they did all these different things, and MRIs of the brain. The yoga people stayed on the same path. They got 2% worse. The exercisers actually grew 2% in the hippocampus. That means a 4% change in 1 year from brisk walking 5 days a week. If you have the genetic predisposition, by far, the number one thing you can do to decrease your risk and the impact of Alzheimer's is exercising briskly. Nothing comes close to that. So if you have that in your family, one thing you for sure can do is exercise. It is the number one thing. And it's really, really, really important. So what should you do exercise-wise? There's debates a little bit on this, but I'm just going to give you the general thought on this. You want to get at least 150 minutes of exercise in a week. That means 5 days a week for 30 minutes at moderate intensity, all right? Moderate intensity is basically you can still talk, but you couldn't sing, all right? So you're walking along with someone, you can talk, might have to catch your breath, everyone, that's moderate, all right? More vigorous activity, you struggle to talk, all right? That's the way I was most of this morning on my bicycle. Drooled a little bit. No, I'm teasing. But and so 75 minutes of that vigorous activity a week is thought to be good. Now, if you're trying to treat dementia or things, or try to, the more frequently you do this is better, not in one lump. But the reality is the weekend warrior kind of thing actually is really beneficial. But it's really beneficial for orthopedists also because you're not in shape. So, but it does impact your body in a good way. If you're trying to lose weight, double those numbers. So instead of 5 days of 30 minutes, try to go 5 days of 60 minutes. Do not start out trying to run for 60 minutes. That is not what I'm telling one to do. Okay? But you work yourself into these things. I'm just trying to give you information that will really make a difference. You're talking about even performance on tests and things like that are improved. This thing called BDNF, that's brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It helps the brain grow, basically. It increases when you exercise. So it's really neat, the different things that the way God made us. It's one of the things about this is just amazing what you see on that. Let me see what else I want to say about this. A couple more things. A metabolic rate, how much energy you burn, has a lot to do with your muscle mass. So if you build muscle, metabolic rate is higher. Losing fat that you don't want is lower. Okay, you're able to lose it more rapidly. If you're a bicyclist and you want to know, vigorous activity is greater than 10 miles per hour in this one. Seems like it would be more than that, but anyway, moderate is around 10 miles an hour. Any question about exercise? Okay, I can. All right, so heart rate. So you know how to calculate your maximum heart rate? It's 220 minus your age. All right, so mine's 170. Not really. Mine's way. That was supposed to be a joke, but I know I look like I'm 50, but I'm not exactly. I'm a little bit more than that. All right. So you take your age, subtract it from 220. That's your maximum heart rate. And I will tell you, in my conditioning, and I push myself pretty hard on the bike and stuff, and I have a monitor on, it's pretty true. I mean, I can be just pushing hard. It kind of tops out for me around 160. And maybe a little bit higher than that, but you can't really change that. It's pretty much, it's a really lot age dependent on that. So 50 to 70% of your maximum heart rate is moderate. Okay? 70 to 85% is vigorous. So I looked at my little watch afterwards, and I was in the 150s most of my workout this morning. So that is vigorous. Okay? So it depends on which you're trying to do. Please do not start out with a vigorous if you're not used to exercising. You will hate it. You will feel bad. That's not what you're trying to do. But so you're trying to do this. But I really strongly encourage you all to find a way to get more active. It will change your life. And you will regret not doing this in the future if you don't start. Because stuff happens to your body. You know, injuries and just things and time, and you can't do stuff for a while, and you get things going on. So do your best to try to do this. So I'm going to shift over to diet. Cover a lot in a few minutes, okay? The diet is a very, very critical thing. I don't know RFK, the different things they're going to be doing, but I will tell you from my perspective, understanding medically, I think a lot of things they're talking about is a good idea. I don't know how it's going to work. It's not my job. I'm not a politician. I just try to do health stuff. So just to tell you a couple of things, 1 gram of protein versus 1 gram of carbohydrates, which one has the most calories in it? They're the same. A gram of sugar and a gram of protein is the same number of calories. All right? They do different things, though. A gram of fat is more than twice a gram of protein and carbohydrates. But fat, in my opinion, isn't the bad guy that people have made it for all these years. Alcohol, so it's 4 calories per gram for protein and carbs, 9 for fat, and 7 for alcohol. 1 pound equals 3,500 calories. All right, that's a lot of exercise. Don't stress. Just do the right thing, and it will make a difference. All right? One of the things we found helpful if you're trying to watch your food is write it down on MyFitnessPal. It's free. You can do it however you want to. It's just a thing. So I want to talk to you about a concept that's relatively new, and I think it's really, really important. This is my opinion. There's books. The book that has a lot of this information is called Drop Acid. It's not LSD. It's Drop Uric Acid. And it's by Dr. Perlmutter, who I think is really, really bright and very, very smart, and I like his stuff a lot. So uric acid is interesting. What I talked about in the very beginning with your inflammation in your body and Alzheimer's and cancer increase and everything like that. If you go back to when they started having the processing food and putting what fructose is, and this high fructose corn syrup, if you go back and see when that happened, guess what? The more that increase, it parallels every bad thing. I mean, every bad thing. Cancer, diabetes, hypertension, Alzheimer's, that's the difference. And so you can actually give somebody medicine that blocks uric acid and decrease their blood pressure, even though it's not a blood pressure medicine. So uric acid is a potent inflammatory thing in our body. I was taught the only thing that mattered was with gout and with kidney stones. So I never worried about it. More and more information is coming out that that's a marker and a cause of inflammation in your body. And there's lots of information on that, and it's just kind of a new thing. So that it makes increased uric acid increases your blood pressure, increases cancer, increases kidney disease, increases Alzheimer's, increases heart disease, bad mental health issues, ADHD, all go up when you eat the processed food. All of it. So it's really, really important. Vegetables are good for you, pretty much. Protein is actually good for you. Healthy fats are actually really good for you, especially olive oil, walnuts, avocado. There's certain fats that are not good. Fruits in general are good. Fruit juice is really bad, okay, because it's just all sugar. So anything all sugar. This is what's heading at the end. I'll say this. This is interesting. So if you think of, I did this not so long in a sermon, but the concept of drinking soda, Coke, Pepsi, or whatever, is really bad for you. Increases the risk of everything bad. But here's the interesting thing. If you drink one artificially sweetened drink per day, your increase of stroke goes up by 3 times, and your increase of Alzheimer's goes up by 3 times. So that Diet Coke you drink, you're increasing, if you do it daily, you're increasing your risk of stroke and Alzheimer's by 3 times. It is not good for you. Poppy. No, I don't know. A poppy. Look at the label and see what's in it. It'll be some derivative of sugar, probably. The alcohol sweeteners, all those things, those are not good for you. The only sweeteners that are good for you. Actually, honey is an interesting thing. So I'm a huge honey fan. And interestingly, a lot of people were down on honey because it's got a lot of fructose in it. But the way God makes honey is actually good for you. Yeah. But honey actually is a good sweetener. A thing called allulose is good. Monk fruit is good. And natural stevia is good. But watch when you buy monk fruit and other things, they add the alcohol sugars in them. Those are bad. Sorry, I just water, and, yeah, just don't drink it. So that's what I mean. I know it's hard not to do stuff. I'm just giving you information from my belief about what's going on. All right, so sorry, but it's not good. Okay, let me go back to where I was at. I got to get my food here real quick. So I'm going to kind of blend this with fasting. Fasting is a very, very powerful, good thing. All right, there's no question it's really good for you. It's a weird thing. Almost everything the Bible talks about is good. Is in there. It usually is. We find out that sometimes we think it was wrong. They used to be really negative about nuts because of the fat content. The fat content in them is really, really good for you. So they did a bunch of studies with mice with fasting. You live much longer when you fast. You calorie restrict, you live much longer. There's basically a few ways of considering fasting. One's called intermittent fasting, which is pretty popular and easier to do a lot of times for people. Typically, the average American eats between 12 and 14 hours a day. Not constantly, but some do. But really, but we have this window that's so big, and even with mice, if they do that, they die faster than mice that don't. And so there's one thing called a 16-8 kind of thing, where you don't eat anything for 16 hours and then 8. And if you can drop it to 6, it's even better for your health. When you fast, I'm going to read the list of these different things. Or you can fast 1 or 2 days a week. Just don't eat anything with calories or anything like that in it. You can drink water and things like that, not diet sodas. Um, so, um, so listen to all that happens. It promotes better blood control, blood sugar control, increases insulin sensitivity, decreases inflammation, especially if you add it to resistance strength training. Interesting. Decreases cholesterol, decreases hypertension, decreases heart disease, improves brain function, decreases brain inflammation, decreases risk of Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and improves nerve growth in the brain. It helps you with weight loss, especially belly fat, which is the really bad thing for us. It increases growth hormone. If you fast for 37 hours, that's just not eating one day and then wait till the following morning kind of thing. Your growth hormone goes up 10 times normal levels, which is really good for you. It helps people live longer. Rat studies are pretty impressive with that. It's kind of hard to test people in those things. And improves your gut bacteria, which is a really, really, really critical thing in health. And it reduces cancer and improves effectiveness of chemotherapy. Fasting is really good for you. That would be great. That's really good. It really makes a difference. It helps decrease. I mean, it's such a good thing for us to do. I want to talk to you about some things that are really good for you to think about adding to your diet. Number one I have is fiber. Fiber is really, really good for you. It does so many good things, but it helps cholesterol levels, obviously bowel issues, decreases colon cancer, decreases gallbladder disease, lots of different things. Super healthy for you, and improves your gut bacteria. Your gut bacteria is so important. It's incredible what it does for you. I had a whole bunch of things to look up. Don't have time to go into it, but it helps your immune system, brain function, everything. The right gut bacteria. When you eat the wrong things, it kills the gut bacteria. When you have to take a lot of antibiotics, it kills the gut bacteria. That is a major issue in your health. Major. Your big immune center is actually in your intestines. There's so much happening with it. So improves brain health, gut health, immune system, weight loss. That thing that makes your brain grow is better. There's a couple recommendations I have for you on that. You want to have a minimum of 10 billion CFUs. CFU means colony forming units. But you look at the bottle, it'll say 10 or 50. The one I take is 50. The one I take is Garden of Life. I like that one a lot. They have one for men and women and for mood. It's interesting. But they have a good product. There's other good products too. I think it's really valuable. In our culture and diet, we don't have great gut bacteria health. It is a major issue, and I really encourage you to think about doing that. It's not expensive. It's safe. Another extremely inexpensive thing that's very, very beneficial in my opinion, when I'm doing my injections and trying to help people to heal through my career, one of the things was a massive difference in their healing ability was whether their vitamin D level was higher. The normal is 30 to 100, 30 to 1,000. Recommend 400 units a day. 400 units. So my level, when I checked, I thought I was eating great, was like 34. This is years ago. I said, that's pretty low. And so I took 1,000 units a day to see what happened. It went to 36. So 400 units does nothing to your level. I will say that. I've never seen it do anything. I think everybody should take 5,000 units of vitamin D3 a day. I don't know nothing bad about it. It does so many good things for you. Every day I read another article about how much good it is. It's cheap. It costs maybe $8 a month. I don't even know if it costs that much. Fish oil, krill oil, that kind of stuff is really, really good for you. I'm going to name some of these things. You can ask me about them in a minute, but I'm running out of time. So there's curcumin and resveratrol. If you know those things, those are really good. I want to just go through some food things real quickly with you, okay? Don't buy stuff that's not GMO-free. Decrease gluten as much as you can. Eat frequent plant-based meals, okay? But make sure if you can get organic stuff, I think it really does matter. Be careful. I know it's more expensive. I understand. Try to avoid anything like it's in a box. These refined carbs, cereals. That's just not good. All right. Check the box and see whatever you're buying. If it's processed things, check and see what the sugars are. They're really high, and that's what's messing up our health really, really a lot. Eat lots of nuts and seeds. Organic eggs are really good for you. Olive oil is extremely good for you. Green tea is really good for you. Walnuts, especially in the nut world, is really, really good. Seafood is really, really good. This book, Drop Acid, has a whole list of plans and ideas to help you do this. It's half the book is that. So if you want, it's got certain things that they recommend that you eat. So it's really good. They give certain things that help lower uric acid that are really helpful. And I'm going to stop for just a minute and have any questions about any of that stuff I was talking about. What's that? Cassava? I'm not sure what that is. What's that? It's a fermented food? The fermented foods are really good for you. Okay, I'm not sure what it is. I'll be happy to look at it, though, but I don't know. Ron. Okay, so Gatorade is an interesting thing. Gatorade, because it is high in fructose, well, zero sugar is really just bad. It's the stuff, it's artificial sweetness. So if you're going to do it, I would rather have the real sugars because you use them more effectively when you're training. I do use Body Armor when I'm training for a long time. Like if I'm going for more than an hour, I do. Because when you actually exercise, your body increases your sugar level about 10 times. So it really goes way up, so your muscle will use it. So that's why I feel like it's okay, but I try not to drink it other times. But it's a good question on it. You can. I do that a lot. Right. So yeah, the fluid is key. But honestly, if I'm doing like some of these 100-mile bike things, you got to get some calories. It just depends on what you do. You just have to because your body needs it, and it's eating them. Because we like if we're pushing hard, we'll burn 1,000 calories per hour. And so you got to have something because you do 3 hours of that. My muscles cramp bad enough when I'm doing that exactly. So, other questions about this, Steve? You know the 8-glass thing is a good idea. In Florida, drink more when it's hot out. You know, in normal life you don't have this problem, but if you notice in marathons, what happens is they stop serving water after a certain time because you can actually hyper dilute yourself and it can cause death. All right, so don't drink jugs and jugs of water, but drinking 8 to 10 glasses of water is probably a good idea. Other questions or thoughts? John. So, yeah, that's a reasonable thing. It is a lot of water. It's to me, I just try to keep hydrated as much as I can. But what Don's talking about is riding for several hours. If you're riding for 30 minutes, right? Yeah, right. So it goes up. Yeah, I don't monitor the amount so much as I just keep drinking it, as much as I can, because it's harder. Yes. I mean, that's true. You're dehydrated when your urine color is more concentrated, unless you take vitamins. Then it's more yellow too. So, but again, just in Florida, just be wise about the heat outside, and if you cramp a lot, having some kind of salt replacement is actually helpful. If you're cramping a lot, it does help. I like a mix of magnesium, potassium, and sodium, but that's my opinion. Other questions? I know there's a lot of information. Remember just a few things. Get your sleep, exercise, and try to find a way to do some fasting. All right, and I think that will help your life a lot. But guys, thanks for your attention. Hopefully this is beneficial.